Welcome back, family. Thank you for joining us. And I know you should be feeling good because breakfast has been made. You've had your coffee or your cocoa tea if you're like me. Now, I did promise that we'd bring the rest of my Bailey's adventures, and I was there for something more serious, which was a seminar about climate change. This was by the United Nations Development Program in conjunction with the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership. Right now, we have some of our friends over in Belize from the Wesley College, as well as Honorable Minister Tracy Panton, shedding some light on the effects of climate change in Belize. Hey everybody, so I'm back here with Tracy Panton, and of course I was here visiting as well because we have been learning about climate change and of course what role we play, what's affecting us, and of course how we can effectively communicate. So I know Belize is making steps towards greener moves, so if you can just tell us all about that.
We're certainly looking, so Belize City and most of Belize is below sea level, and so the rising temperatures of the ocean really affects our coastal communities. 70% of our communities are along the coastline, and so we have had to look at how we can mitigate against some of the changing climate conditions in the country. And so we're moving to cleaner energy, more sustainable use of agricultural processes, more natural uses, so that we can try and mitigate against what we see happening in terms of general erosion, particularly in our coastal communities.
All right, perfect. All right, so St. Lucia, we are not alone, and of course climate change is something that affects all of us, but again, it's for us to be proactive, not just knowing about it, but make steps towards doing something. So Tracy, thank you so much for that.
It's a pleasure. I'm not sure the direction of the information sharing that you guys would like from myself as one of the vice principals. But I believe with my students, these are all the first year students here at Wesley College. Just a brief backdrop on the history of Wesley College, being in the Albert Division, the oldest high school in the country, established in 1882 under the British colonial system. And it started off as just an all-boys school with only 5 particular boys, and over the years it grew to presently where we have a student population of 600 plus, nearing 700 students, with a support teaching staff of 40 teachers plus, along with administration and support staff. We have had to battle the storm and weather the storm, being blessed with such beautiful environment, but we know due to climate change how it has affected, as we will shortly be able to take a tour and see that we had suffered and have been suffering severe erosion. And I think through the efforts of the administration and the Board of Management, we had embarked on a small reclamation project. Just recently, with the last hurricane, we suffered the damage in terms of the debris, flood, and all of that was tremendous. Everything from my desk up was covered with silt and mud. So we had to be champion of that cause several times. And our students are aware of these, and they are always in full support of whatever the situation for us to restore. And we have done that ably over the different times that we have had to suffer those changes.
All right, guys, so in case you didn't know of the impacts of climate change or what it's doing, it's affecting us. It's not just affecting the first world countries. It's hitting home right here in the Caribbean, as you heard for yourself, as you saw for yourself. And I was pretty surprised when we went to Southside just to see the effects there. And I could actually relate to some of these issues because these are some things we are facing right here in St. Lucia. So climate change is something that's affecting everyone. So we need to be a little conscious and stop and think, what exactly can we do to help make a change? That's what I'm going to throw out to you. We'll be right back. Hi, St. Lucia. Thank you again for joining us. So, of course, you know I'm Chayla Mendez, still here in Belize, and it's all about the climate change capacity building workshop that I came here for, especially invited. So, I'm really honored. And one of the persons that I really have to thank as well is also Yoko, because she worked with the organization that was very instrumental in putting this together and having all of us here. And that is the JCCCP, which is the Japan Caribbean Climate Change
Partnership.
All right, there we go. You see, we're so in sync. We're finishing each other's sentences. So, Yoko, first of all, thank you for being on this morning. St. Lucia, make sure you give a lot of love. But can you just, for anybody in St. Lucia who's not aware of the organization, just let us know exactly what JCCCP is all about.
Okay. I'm responsible for the Japan Caribbean Climate Change Partnership, and then I am based in Barbados and working for the United Nations Development Program in Barbados and OECS. JCCCP with JCCCP. We're working with the 8 countries, and then the government of Japan provided the resource, and then we work together as a UNDP, and then the government of Japan working together to support the 8 countries, 8 Caribbean countries, to be more resilient and also the low carbon development pathway. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Now, with that, of course, I think almost everybody watching right now has heard about climate change, but have we really stopped to think about how climate change affects us? Because I think we're a little bit relaxed in the Caribbean when it comes to that, because, you know, our emissions may not be major contributors, and, you know, things are still pretty on our side, so we don't feel it as much as maybe the first world countries are experiencing these issues. So if you can just enlighten us a little bit more on exactly what climate change is, and for anybody who is left in the dark, don't worry, that's why we're doing this. And then, of course, how it really does impact us here in the Caribbean.
All right. Yeah, when you're talking about the climate change, it's kind of very general. So maybe the people, you don't know what exactly means or what exactly affect the people in their everyday life. But actually, it really does affect the people, and then in every single way, in a very different way. For example, that maybe everyone might feel that the tropical storms, it comes more often.
Yes.
Dry seasons maybe getting longer.
That is.
Yeah,
and when know that, St. Lucia.
When it comes to the rainy season, maybe you will have extensive flooding and so on, and so that's changing the climate. Yeah, and then because of those incidents, the flooding, landslide maybe also affected the agriculture, the field, the crops, it affected. So maybe the climate change, when we're talking about the climate change, maybe the first thing that people might think about the tropical storms or the hurricanes that hit enormous impacts. That definitely it is true. But also we call it slow onset. It's a dry season.
Right.
It's not the big impact, but it's, you know, gradually you feel that it's getting, the water is getting scarce, and then you have to start worrying about the waters, and also the agriculture really affect that the crops.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's very different ways. I think that the people already feel it, but maybe it's not really connected to the climate change.
And I think you're very right when you say that, Yoko, because here in St. Lucia, what's affecting us, it's a lot drier, longer. When it does rain, it's really bad. And then even more so now, lately everybody's complaining about how hot it is, hotter than normal. A recent advisory went out by the government, you know, to stay hydrated. We're experiencing higher heat levels. So in case you didn't know, all of these effects are actually ripple effects of climate change. So it is affecting us here in St. Lucia, and the whole point of this discussion, and again, me being here, is so that we can open our eyes and think of what can we do. You know, we need to try to be prepared, but what can we still do to contribute, because whether we like it or not, we as islands are going to be affected. You know, if the earth is heating up, the ice caps melt, so we're islands. You know, we have to think about the water aspect. So I can definitely say I've been learning since I've been here, and I want to personally thank you right now as well, on behalf of St. Lucia for having me here. And there's just a lot for us to take back St. Lucia. So if it's one thing that I've learned is that we cannot be lackadaisical and think, oh, okay, it's happening over there. Our air is clean and our water is good. It's a ripple effect, and it's going to affect us all. So we have to take a stand. And again, the JCCCP, that's what they're instrumental about. And it would be great for you all to follow them. So Yoko, is there any maybe social media or website that St. Lucia can go on to get more information and follow the organization?
Yes. Basically, we are using the UNDP, Barbados, and OECS Facebook,
Okay.
Twitters, and as a JCCCP, we also using the Instagram, but also we are always working with UNDP website and Twitter still.
All right, perfect. Well, Yoko, thank you for being here with
Thank
us.
you.
So, St. Lucia, this is our connection right here. I'm going to continue enjoying this. It's definitely a learning process, and we are learning together because that's how we do it right here on This Morning.